Sign up for the newsletter and shop merch and clothing at www.dbcheftv.com. Welcome everybody back to another episode of Brunch with the Fellas, bringing you the latest trending topic news. I'm your host, Chef Erol Pearl at DBCHEFTV. Make sure to like and share this video. Also subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so when I go live, you never miss an episode, y'all. Happy holidays to everybody. I hope everyone had a very peaceful, positive, productive, happy, loving, warm, belly fulling Thanksgiving out there. Man, if you're traveling, make sure you travel safely out there. I know I had to do a little bit of traveling, ripping and running, and it was some accidents out there, y'all. So slow down, baby. Don't go too fast. Don't be in no rush. Take your time and make it back home safely to your loved ones so y'all can be able to do it again, y'all. Tonight we got a amazing show for y'all. We got a couple of topics of what's going on right now, and before we do that, real quick, y'all, go ahead and make sure to like and share the content, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Smash that like button. I really appreciate it when you do that. And right now we got a 25% off merch sale going on right now at the DB Chef TV gift shop. So y'all go ahead and check that out. And it's a QR code right there. All you got to do is just use the QR code and you can go right there to it. Check us out, see what we got. We appreciate the love and support. But the freest way is to smash the like button. Now, let's get into these topics for tonight. So we got the National Guard attack update. If y'all don't know, a couple days ago, some of National Guard troops were attacked and shot in Washington, D.C. It's tragic. It's tragic. They was attacked by a what do you call it? Afghani national. So somebody who was allowed to come here from Afghanistan through specific programs or whatever. You know, we have immigration things going on. So it's very sad, very tragic. We praying for the family, but we're gonna check that out. There's been some updates if you've been following that. And then we got Campbell soup, y'all. Yeah, everybody know about Campbell soup, you know, chunky. We want the chunky soup. That's the one that everybody want, the chunky. And man, they got controversy going on. So we're gonna check that out and see what they got going on. And then the Democrats say disobey orders. That's the way it's being played out, you know. That's not exactly what they said, but it sound like it though. It do sound like it. So I don't know, that's my personal opinion, but I'm going to share more about that and all of these topics as we go ahead and get to the videos. So let's get to the videos, y'all, and then we're going to break them down, talk about that.
Two members of the West Virginia National Guard on crime-fighting duty in Washington, D.C. were shot and critically wounded today. They were ambushed just blocks away from the White House. CBS News captured the immediate aftermath of the shooting right there. A suspect was wounded and taken into custody and is now in the hospital. President Trump in Florida for Thanksgiving posted that the shooter will, quote, pay a very steep price. He's ordering 500 more National Guard troops into Washington, D.C.
We are following breaking news tonight. President Trump announcing one of the two West Virginia National Guard members shot while patrolling the nation's capital on Thanksgiving Eve has died from her injuries. The U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia says the suspect faces at least 4 felony charges, including attempt to kill while armed. Natalie Brand has more from Washington.
President Trump announced on Thursday night that one of the two National Guard members shot while patrolling the nation's capital on Thanksgiving Eve has died from her injuries.
Right now, I heard that Sarah Beckstrom of West Virginia, one of the guardsmen that we're talking about.
Man, we just want to take our time, take our hat off, rest in peace to Sarah Beckstrom, died in the line of service. And man, that's sad. Prayers and everything going out to her family and to the family of the other fellow service member that's trying to make a recovery right now. Hopefully he pulls through. You know, this is a very sad thing, but it's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. When you put on the uniform, you don't expect it, you know, but sometimes, you know, things happen. So it's a very sad story, y'all. But it gives everybody a lot to be thankful for over the holidays. So be mindful.
Highly respected, young, magnificent person. Started service in June of 2023. Outstanding in every way. She's just passed away.
The other National Guardsman was identified as 24-year-old Andrew Wolf. Investigators say the suspect in Wednesday's deadly shooting drove cross-country to carry out an ambush attack.
A lone gunman opened fire without provocation, ambush style, armed with a .357 Smith & Wesson revolver.
Officials identified the suspect as 29-year-old Ramanallah Lakhanwal of Washington State, an Afghan national who entered the U.S. in 2021 following the American withdrawal from the war-torn country. The CIA said Lakhanwal previously worked with the U.S. government in Afghanistan. A Department of Homeland Security official tells CBS News the suspected gunman was granted asylum earlier this year on humanitarian grounds.
We must take all necessary measures to ensure the removal of any alien from any country who does not belong here or add benefit to our country.
In addition, the director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services says he has ordered at the direction of President Trump a full-scale, rigorous re-examination of all green cards for every immigrant from more than a dozen countries of concern, including Afghanistan. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Well, you know, I'm gonna give it to you straight. I mean, that guy, when they shot him, you know, they should have killed him. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. But something that was very interesting though was how he was allowed to be in America seeking asylum. And when you hear that and then you internalize it, you're like, damn, so you were seeking asylum because you were running from something in your own country. So you running from persecution in your own country or something, whatever it is. I don't know. I ain't researched what he was seeking asylum from. And you would think that you would go to your new country where you get to make a new life for yourself. You get to start over. You get to, you know, have your family and do things that in that country you felt were impossible for you to do. But you come to America and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I can do these things or get close to it. I could possibly touch it. And then for this to occur, you know, it's so sad that it's just like, it's like, I remember a couple of months ago that they were saying, Trump was saying something about going back over there and taking, reclaiming the air base that we had, the station that we had over there. Okay. So now I'm thinking like, okay, is this fuel? Is this more fuel on the fire to do it? I mean, because those, I don't know how to change the you know, what needs to be updated, because it seems like you really can't gauge if a person is lying or not when they saying they come in here to seek asylum and then something like this, something crazy like this happens. You know, so what is the process there? You know, what is the process in the foreign countries? unless you just shut it all down completely and just be like, nope, we not accepting nobody from any countries that we think don't mess with us. If we think that you ain't got no love for the U.S., we ain't even, your people can't even come here. You can't visit. You can't do that. It sounds crazy, right? Because then that could be done to us too. But people have to realize that, like, that's the type of world we live in, where we don't see Americans. We don't hear about Americans roguely. Like, this was, they call this an isolated incident. Okay. You don't necessarily hear about us Americans going to other countries and living, even expats, and then be out there committing murders and engaging in all type of foolishness, So I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, but it's like being attacked on your own shores, and I get it. There's a case for somebody to say, well, what about when we go over to other countries and we do stuff, military operations and things like that. I couldn't argue the point, but I would say that, like, if you going on vacation, to the person that would make that comparison, if you going on vacation, or you going over there to live somewhere because you don't like something that's going on in the country where you're at, or where you are from, you're not going to that other country to go and harm the people. You trying to actually go and and have a new life, create whatever version of that is that you thinking about doing. So just some little, just thinking about it, just internalizing the situation, and wondering, is this one of one, or is this more to come? Or will we see more of this? Because it's sad. Something really needs to be done in totality. So we're gonna move on to our next topic, y'all. We got the Campbell soup controversy. It's looking crazy. Let's go ahead and get into that.
Campbell's.
Good.
This morning, Campbell's Soup is denying claims about its products, allegedly made by an executive in a recorded conversation. The person in the recording is also heard belittling Campbell's customers during an expletive-filled rant.
We have that's for poor people. Who buys our I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's unhealthy. Now that I know what the in it, I can eat bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer.
The recording is allegedly from a conversation that's now part of a lawsuit filed by Robert Garza, a cybersecurity analyst for Campbell's, who claims he was fired after reporting the alleged remarks, which he says also included racist comments about company employees. Garza claims Campbell executive Martin Bally made those comments after the two met to discuss Garza's salary. In a statement, Garza's attorney saying, "This situation has been very hard on Robert. He thought Campbell's would be thankful that he reported Martin's behavior, but instead, he was abruptly fired." Campbell's responding, saying, "If the comments were in fact made, they are unacceptable. They do not reflect our values and the culture of our company." And going on to say, "The comments heard on the recording about our food are not only inaccurate, they are patently absurd."
Nothing melts away the cold like a delicious hot bowl of Campbell's soup.
Campbell saying, "The chicken meat used in our soups comes from long-trusted USDA-approved U.S. suppliers and meets our high-quality standards." And the company noting, Bally worked in IT and had nothing to do with food production. Bally is on leave, pending a company investigation. In the meantime, the Attorney General in Florida, a state that bans lab-grown meat, says his office is now investigating Campbell's products.
We reached out to Martin Bally, but did not hear back. Campbell says it has not been able to verify the recording. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Okay, y'all, this is the wildest shit ever. So, because it's a couple things, right? So first, the whistleblower got fired. What type of shit is that? What is that? What type of ish is that? That's crazy. Okay. Then we got the guy who's the IT who made the comments. He's just on leave. So that must mean he's still getting paid. Okay. And then you have Campbell's responding. And the only thing they talked about, they didn't hop on none of the racial stuff at all. They just completely like skipped that. And they went straight to our food is good, it's healthy, it's made of real products, blah, blah, blah. So it seemed like Campbell's was more worried about people thinking that it's 3D printed chicken or bioengineered food in the can than, you know. So that would be typical, right? You worry about your sales first, your sales possibly declining, and the in-house work-life issues, you handle that separately. Is that what they doing? That's what it seemed like they doing. The public, they addressed the public stuff, to what they thought was most important. We don't need the work life, the you know, the ecosystem stuff. We don't need to address that. We're just going to talk about what he said about the food comments. But we're going to fire the whistleblower. I don't even understand that. But something for people that don't know. When you buy your food, when you go and buy things that are in a package, most states require, it may even be federal law now. I don't know what the good Kennedy brother at the FDA now. But it says package may contain bioengineered food. So if you read the back of the box or the back of the package or whatever, it'll tell you if it's bioengineered food. Okay. So you have the option of determining whether you want to purchase those specific products and consume them. You know, we understand that, like, some people price point, like, this can of soup may be organic with nothing in it but just, you know, real stuff, and it may be way more expensive than just that regular can of soup that just have some bioengineered products in it. So you gotta take a pick. You know, do you want the bioengineered? Do you care? Or do you want the stuff that don't have that in it? You know, and are you willing to pay the price difference? Because we see that price difference does matter, because they're telling us that the bioengineered stuff is cheaper to make than the stuff God made. So than the natural way, than the way the sun grows it, and then you, I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's crazy, y'all. But read the labels. Y'all can read the labels in the back. And with the chunky soup though, we had, y'all remember the Donovan McNabb commercial when his mama was on the sideline and running up and down the sideline. Then we had Saquon Barkley mama in the huddle. His mom's was in the huddle with the soup. Who else we had? We had Jaden Daniels. He had the chunky mantry with and he even had somebody in there. He had a soup chef in there hooking it up. And we had the Mama's Boys. Who else we had? We had Clay Matthews. His mama had a whole like little duck off, a little secret mom cave where she was hooking up soup in the locker room, in the back of the locker room, in a secret cave in the locker room. So, I mean, Campbell's, man, has been, it's almost synonymous with the NFL. So I wonder if the NFL, how that's going to play out moving forward, if they still going to be dealing with them. That'll be something to keep an eye out on, to see if the NFL still is rocking with Campbell's after something like this. I don't know. I don't know if this is that serious, but it's bioengineered. You have to write bioengineered on the label unless Campbell has some exemption. So I don't have any Campbell soup in my pantry to go and check. And I did enough grocery shopping the last couple of days to not want to see the grocery store for a while. I'm still eating turkey sandwiches, y'all. So let's go ahead and jump into this next video. Make sure to smash the like button, y'all, and share the content. Also, like we said, DB Chef TV, 25% off merch, all merch, everything on the website at the DB Chef TV gift shop. You can use the QR code right here. Where's that? Right here. QR code right up there in the corner, right on your mobile device. And we appreciate it. If you can't, it's all love. We know things is tight out here. We in a recession, but the like button is free, y'all. So let's get into this third topic. We got the Democrats say disobey orders. Not exactly, but y'all let me know if y'all think that's what they mean when they saying it, because it kind of sound like it. But we gonna get into the clip.
Hello, everyone. I'm Major Garrett in Washington. Let me welcome you to the Takeout. We did not expect to start tonight with Article 92 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. We are, because a debate, if you can call it that, broke out today over what it means and calls by the President of the United States for charges of treason against 6 Democratic members of Congress. Treason, as you might know, is punishable by death. President Trump amplified a Truth Social post calling for the lawmakers' death by hanging. This, ladies and gentlemen, is where we are. Article 92 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice says service personnel must obey lawful orders. Failure to obey lawful orders can result in court-martial. There is, however, an important qualifier.
All right, y'all. So real quick, he ain't give you all of it, but we're going to pull it up right here real fast. Article 92 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which we all call, if you ever served, all the service members, we just call it the UCMJ. They are a set of laws that military members have along with civil laws. So all service personnel, all military service members from the Air Force, the Coast Guard, the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Space Force, the Public Health Service, they all have, and any other commission corps, the National Guard and the Air National Guard, and any other commission corps, they all have these laws that apply to them, as well as our regular municipal, civil, federal laws. Okay. Article 92 specifically of the UCMJ makes it a crime for service members to disobey or fail to obey lawful orders, regulations, or to be derelict in their performance of their duties. If you don't know what derelict means, that means that, you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. Violations can include failing to obey a lawful order or regulation, negligence that leads to dereliction of duty, or failing to obey general orders. Okay. Now, maximum punishments can include a bad conduct discharge. That's where people DD 214, when they get discharged, that's where they kick you out and they put a bad conduct on there. And sometimes it could be other than honorable, but it won't be honorable. It's either dishonorable or other than honorable, but it won't be honorable. Okay. Now, other than honorable, in some circumstances, you can have it change. But usually if you get a dishonorable discharge, there's nothing you could do. It's like having an F on your chest, trying to come back out here to the civilian world, having a felony charge, on attached to your name, to your character, your person. All right. Forfeiture of pay. Now, when they say forfeiture of pay, you say, okay, well, how can you just forfeit your pay if you get a bad conduct discharge? They kicking you out. Well, what happens is with the UCMJ, because it is a set of laws, it is a set of rules. All right. In the military, we have our own tribunal or judicial process, and it's called a mass, a captain's mass, or a court martial. So the captain's mass can happen at your unit level, to where you do something and it doesn't need to go to a court martial but you get punished at your unit level, and that's a captain's mast, and that is a court proceeding. You get an investigator, you gotta prove your case, you gotta state your case and everything. But usually in those situations, that's where your pay is forfeited, because what happens is you usually get reduced in rank based on what you did. So let's say if you was a E5, you went back to E4. Okay. So in doing that, that's when you lost your money, because you aren't making the same pay. All right. Sometimes I've seen where a person may not get reduced in rank. They may just get they pay forfeited, you know, based on a fine or something like that. Because if you got an extra bill that you didn't have, you forfeit and pay anyway. Okay. So, and then you have confinement. Confinement is where where you get locked up. Now, most of the time, the bad conduct, the forfeiture of pay, and the confinement kind of run together. All right. So like if you did something that is going to cause you to get a bad conduct discharge, depending on what you did, you could possibly get locked up. You could get confined. You go to Leavenworth or wherever else we had the military prisons at. All right. For military personnel. So you could get confined, and then during that confinement, of course, you're getting reduced in rank. You forfeit and pay, all that. So, I hope that allows people to understand a little bit of what Article 92 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice is. If not, y'all can Google this. You can ask Siri or Alexa. You can ask your phone, and it'll bring up what it is. It might go a little bit further in depth, but that's it in a nutshell. Let's get back to this clip.
Military personnel have a duty to disobey a manifestly illegal order. That means the order's illegality must be, quote, clear and obvious. Examples: orders to target civilians, orders to falsify documents, orders to commit crimes. 6 Democrats in Congress, all of whom served in the United States military or the U.S. intelligence community, released a video to members of the military and intelligence community, and here from that video are the most pertinent excerpts.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk. This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals
against American citizens. Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
For a member of the military, following that order to deploy would be legal. Yes, legal. Why? Because of the order's presumptive legality and that it flowed in the proper chain of command from the Chief Executive of the United States on down. The lawmakers who put out that video said.
So breaking that down real quick, y'all. So he said from the commander in chief. So what we saw is what people don't know is the president is in charge of the military. Okay. So the president of the United States, it doesn't matter which one, Barack, Biden, whoever, they are the head ranking person of the United States military, of all the branches. So that's the reason why the president could say, all right, we doing this, and then we go do it. It's an order. It came down from the top. It's a direct order. It is a lawful order because the president has that position, no power. They in that position. That position holds the ability to do that. If I was to become the president, then I would be in charge of the whole military too. All right. If you were to become the president, you would be in charge of the whole military. If Kamala would have won, she would have been same. It don't matter. It's not an ethnicity thing. It's not a gender thing. It is a positional thing that comes with the title. Okay. So this is the reason why they really can't do nothing about it, because it is lawful. All right. If he says this is what we doing, and then he classifies the people who run in drugs are classified as terrorists or unfriendlies or people harmful to national security, then guess what happens? They classified now. They combatants. So now, if the military is addressing this issue, then all of the orders that come through or come down the chain are lawful. People don't get that, because a lot of people haven't. I think a lot of times this is catering. They hoping that the people who never been in the military and don't care to understand how government works as far as with the military and correlation with the presidency and the rank structure. This is why I think stuff like this is able to proliferate and people have all these opinions, but they ignorant ass opinions because they don't understand how the inner workings of it, how it actually is designed. I was saying that about, before we get back to the video, I was saying that real quick. I was saying that about how Trump was begging the Senate to reopen the government. Y'all seen Trump had all this, everybody think Trump got all this power. Yeah, he got power over the military, but he was begging Congress to open the government. So he couldn't even open the government. And they showed us that to our face. Then yeah, there was back and forth. It's back and forth in this right here. This is a Democrat Republican malarkey. But at the same time, they showed us that. They showed us where he was begging them, like, hey, even asking them to end the filibuster. And they like, no, these are our rules in the Senate. Like, after we go vote and get them there, then they still have their own procedural rules and processes to do things. So, that should be a eye opener to everybody. Who, if you paying attention, if you care about it. If not, then I'm an asshole with a opinion too.
But only illegal orders can be disobeyed. Nevertheless, Trump called the video, quote, seditious behavior at the highest level, unquote. Said the lawmakers, quote, should be arrested and put on trial, unquote. And here is the repost calling for the lawmakers to be hanged. House Speaker Mike Johnson, by way of defense of Trump, said the Democrats told troops to, quote, disobey orders, unquote. You can judge that line of defense for yourself. Nancy, you had an exchange with Caroline Leavitt during today's White House press secretary briefing. Let's play that exchange for our audience.
The president and the vice president, for that matter, have accused the other side of encouraging political violence. Isn't that exactly what the president is doing when he says that members of Congress should be killed?
Why aren't you talking about what these members of Congress are doing to encourage and incite violence? They are literally saying to 1.3 million active duty service members not to defy the chain of command, not to follow lawful orders.
Actually, what they said is you can refuse an illegal order.
But they're suggesting, Nancy, that the president has given illegal orders, which he has not.
So the White House is holding on to that idea, the suggestion, the implication from this video. Nancy?
That's right. The case that Caroline Leavitt made today is that it isn't the president's speech that is incendiary. It is this video put out by Democrats in which she said that they incentivize the 1.3 million members of the military to disobey the chain of command, something that she said could lead to chaos, even lead to people getting killed. But there was this uproar on Capitol Hill, Major, after the president said that these 6 Democratic lawmakers should be put to death. A lot of Democrats who said that President Trump was putting them at risk, that he has supporters who are unhinged, and that he has just sent a powerful message to them that the Democrats are the enemy and that they deserve to die. The president didn't then repeat his threat, but he didn't delete it either.
No, he did not delete it. And he didn't he didn't deny it or none of that. So he said it and he meant it. But Trump say a lot of wild stuff. I don't agree nobody should be put to death, and not for just, expressing their opinions. But I do agree that causes conflict. You know, that does cause people to maybe second guess or not if, you know, if the order is valid or not. But I mean, if you in uniform, man, you're not paying no attention to that. You're gonna do what you told, because that's all you have to do in the military, is do what you told. Okay. And there's a process where if you have a problem with an order, you know, this is over 20 years of experience coming to you right now. So I'm not guessing. All right. I did it. I got my plaques. I got my ribbons and everything. All right. And you can disagree with something, but the way the military was when I was in it was you do it first, and then you come back and you complain about it. Okay. Then or you express your concern or your thoughts. But it's always going to be, did you follow the order? Did you do what you were told? Because if you're not, then you are there in dereliction. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. You're not obeying a direct order that came through your proper chain of command. That's how it works. You know, that's one of the beautiful things about the military. There is structure. There is integrity. There is an accountability system. And a report had already came out when that story had first dropped that, you know, military service personnel were going to be exempt from any political malarkey, because, you know, you following orders, and it's proper. So, you know, shout out to all the troops out there, y'all. We love y'all, all the soldiers, sailors. Keep doing what y'all doing. You know, thank you for your service. We appreciate y'all. And, you know, hope you make it back home safe. Like, that's really what it's all about. Everybody want to come home, you know. So tonight, y'all, we had the National Guard attack update. Sending some prayers out to the young lady who passed away in that, and her family. Campbell Soup. I don't know if it's going to be chunky for the Super Bowl or what that's going to look like. You know, they're going to have to get their thing together. That's crazy. But they did dodge some of the racial stuff. But they really harped on, no, we got real food in the can. There's real chicken in there. So it seemed like that's what they were more concerned about. And then the Democrats and the political show between the Democrats and the Republicans, you know, but that's not cool though. That's just not a cool thing. I don't really usually get into the whole back and forth, but that's not a cool thing, because people already struggle with assimilation in the military, and it's still a lot of things in the military that go on where it's like cliques, and it's still real high schoolish. So, you know, adding another layer of something to be confusing or something to struggle with, is bogus. Yeah, it's terrible. It's really terrible. But that's all I got for y'all tonight, man. I want to thank everybody for pulling up, and make sure y'all smash that like button, share the content, also subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, so when I go live, you never miss an episode of Brunch with the Fellas. Also, don't forget, y'all, right now we got that holiday sale going on, 25% off all merch at DBCHEFTV gift shop. Go over there and check us out. We appreciate that. QR code right up there at the top. I'm getting ready to drop that down. And I want y'all to continue to have a peaceful, positive, and productive weekend. It's still the Thanksgiving weekend. You're traveling, like I said in the beginning. Make sure you get home safe. Travel out there. Be careful. We love y'all. We'll see y'all next time right here, Brunch with the Fellas. Chef Erol Pearl at DBCHEFTV. Peace.
This whole publication is all about going from nowhere to somewhere, right? Being able to stand on something so that you can travel in peace, right? So bksoulfarm.com, 1016 160 self-sustainability. Jump on the list and get yourself together, right? Because it is irresponsible to not even know what responsibility means. So get yourself together, food, clothing, and shelter, protection of that, support your interests, and live.
It's the most wonderful time of the year again, where families make new memories, share old memories, and celebrate the new year. So visit the DBCHEFTV gift shop for the best stocking stuffers to add to your holiday cheer. Enjoy 25% off our entire site now through January 5th, 2026. At the Veteran Kettle Podcast, we thank you for your service, support, and sacrifice to our country. Listen to real stories of adversity and triumph as we give our best to honor our vets. Subscribe today and watch episodes now streaming on YouTube at TVK Podcasts, The Veteran Kettle. Love ain't always easy, and we won't stop until we get it right. So bring that ass to the Love Speak Podcast. Subscribe today and let your love speak at TLS Podcast, The Love Speak, now streaming on YouTube. If it's Friday night and you don't have a date, then Brunch with the Fellas is your spot, so don't be late. We go up at 9 p.m. with the trending topic news. Smash the like, comment, subscribe, and share the content. Don't be rude. At Brunch Fellas, now streaming on YouTube. Exchange insights Sundays at 8 p.m. East Coast time with the Cigar Panel. Smoking on words like two big nerds. Hosted by DBCHEFTV and BK Soul Farm at Cigar Sundays on YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, so when they go live, you never miss an episode of Cigar Sundays Live. Sign up for the newsletter and shop merch and clothing at www.dbcheftv.com.